My sister raised a shaking hand across the dinner table and claimed the child she was carrying belonged to my husband. Every conversation vanished at once. My mother froze with her glass halfway to her lips, while my father stared at me like I was a stranger. "Say something," my sister whispered, and I realized she had already decided I was guilty. I'm Elena Ward, 30 years old, and that accusation shattered my entire life in under 10 seconds. "What are you talking about?" I asked. "You heard me." Her eyes locked on mine. "Stop pretending." Her husband Daniel sat rigid beside her, avoiding everyone's gaze. My own husband, Carter, slowly pushed back his chair. "Elena, is any of this true?" "No." I stood immediately. "Absolutely not." Then my sister lifted her phone. "Explain these messages." My father grabbed the device first. His expression darkened line by line. My mother covered her mouth. Carter walked around the table and read over Dad's shoulder. The colour drained from his face so quickly it frightened me. I reached for the phone. "Let me see that." She yanked it away. "You've done enough." According to the messages, I had been secretly meeting Daniel for weeks. Plans, confessions, flirting, future promises. Every text looked like it came from my number, but I had never sent a single one. Carter looked at me with disbelief instead of trust. That hurt more than the accusation itself. "You think I did this?" I asked. He didn't answer. That silence told me everything. Trust disappears faster than love. Carter grabbed his coat and walked out without another word. I followed him toward the door, but my father stopped me. "Let him leave." I turned around, stunned. My parents weren't confused. They were disappointed. Why had they accepted her story so quickly? "You always envied your sister," my father muttered. That was the moment I understood something terrifying. This wasn't impulsive. This was prepared. I left the house shaking. Carter ignored every call. By midnight, half his closet was empty. A note sat beside the sink. "I need distance." That was all. No explanation, no conversation, nothing. The next morning, I tried calling my sister. Blocked. Daniel blocked me too. Then my parents stopped answering. Within one night, everyone vanished. I went to the police station because I knew those messages had to be fabricated somehow. The officer barely looked interested. "Can you prove they're fake?" "How am I supposed to prove I never sent something?" He shrugged. "Sounds domestic." Domestic. As if my entire life collapsing was just routine paperwork. I sat in my car afterward replaying every detail in my head. Who could create those texts? Why frame me? Why now? Then my phone rang from an unknown number. A hospital. The woman on the line asked me to come immediately and refused to explain why. My chest tightened during the entire drive. Was Carter injured? My parents? Daniel? Instead, a doctor escorted me into a quiet office and slid a folder across her desk. "Someone used your identity here 2 weeks ago." "What?" "She presented your insurance card and personal information." "Identity theft." Then she revealed the real reason she called me. The woman posing as me had taken a pregnancy test. Positive. I stared at the paperwork in disbelief. That wasn't me. "I know," the doctor replied softly. "We checked surveillance footage." She turned the monitor toward me, and there she was, my sister. Same hairstyle, similar coat, pretending to be me. I couldn't breathe for a second. The accusation at dinner suddenly made horrifying sense. "She planned all of this," I whispered. The doctor nodded slowly. "I thought you deserved the truth." Why would someone destroy their own sister just to win attention? Why would anyone build a lie this elaborate? I asked for copies of everything. Timestamps, records, footage, signatures. She gave me all of it on a flash drive. Before I left, she said something I never forgot. "Sometimes people don't hate who you are. They hate how happy you seem." I drove directly to Carter's office. His assistant tried blocking me until I said I had proof. Carter finally came out looking exhausted and hollow-eyed. I handed him the evidence without speaking. He watched the footage in silence. Then sat down hard. That's your sister? Yes. She pretended to be you? Yes. His hands shook slightly. Eleanor, I'm sorry, Zhao. I wanted to forgive him instantly. But pain doesn't disappear just because truth appears. You left without listening, I said quietly. He lowered his head, and for the first time I realized apologies can arrive too late. I left his office and drove straight to my sister's house. When she opened the door, she smiled like nothing had happened. That smile disappeared the moment I showed her the footage. Where did you get that? The hospital. Her face hardened immediately. Then she said something that changed everything. So what? No fear, no regret, just arrogance. You committed fraud, I told her. And, she replied, that single word chilled me more than the accusation ever had. I demanded the truth. Finally, she snapped. You had everything, she hissed. The marriage, the career, the attention. Everyone loved you first. So you ruined my life? I proved I could. Jealousy turns love into sabotage. Then she admitted Daniel helped her because she had blackmailed him over his own affair. I secretly recorded everything. The moment she realized it, panic flashed across her face for the first time all night. You're recording me? Yes, she lunged toward my phone. I stepped back. Touch me and I'll report that too. I went straight to the police station again. This time they listened carefully. The evidence was overwhelming. Forgery, fraud, identity theft, possible conspiracy charges. By evening, officers were searching for my sister. I drove to my parents' house before they heard it elsewhere. Mom answered the door, looking irritated until I showed her the surveillance video. Her expression collapsed instantly. Dad replayed the footage 3 times without speaking. Finally, he whispered, "Why would she do this?" That question hurt more than the betrayal itself, because they still didn't understand her. Or maybe they never understood me. The police arrived while we were talking. My sister had disappeared. My mother gave them the location of a cabin near the lake. After they left, silence swallowed the house. Then my mother started crying. We were wrong. Yes, I answered. You were. Dad tried apologizing too, but apologies couldn't erase the speed with which they condemned me. Why is doubt always stronger than loyalty when family is involved? I went home emotionally numb. Carter waited outside my apartment. He asked if we could fix things. I looked at him for a long moment before answering. I needed you when everyone turned against me. I know, but you chose fear instead. He didn't argue because he knew it was true. The next morning, police found my sister hiding at the cabin. Daniel was arrested later. The charges became public within days, and suddenly everyone who doubted me wanted to talk again. Too late. At the first hearing, my sister glared at me through the courtroom glass. No confidence now, only resentment. Her attorney claimed stress caused confusion. The prosecution destroyed that argument with security footage, records, and her own recorded confession. Daniel eventually testified against her in exchange for leniency. He admitted she manipulated the entire situation from the beginning. The jury returned guilty verdicts on every charge. My sister received prison time. Daniel did too. Outside the courthouse, Carter approached me carefully. We can still rebuild, he said. I shook my head. You believed the worst version of me without hesitation. He tried apologizing again. But trust, once shattered publicly, never fits together the same way privately. So I filed for divorce. Months later, I moved away and started over in another city. New apartment, new work, new people, no family dinners, no suspicion, no pretending. And slowly peace returned. My parents sent letters constantly. I never opened them. Some friends said forgiveness would heal me, but distance healed me first. Years passed before my mother finally reached me again. She said, My sister wanted to apologize after prison changed her perspective. I refused at first. Then one evening my phone rang. It was my sister herself. Her voice sounded smaller somehow, older. "I don't expect forgiveness," she admitted. "I just needed you to know I finally understand what I destroyed." For the first time, there were no excuses, no blame, no manipulation, just truth. After the call ended, I sat alone for a long time thinking about everything that had happened, and I realized something unexpected. Closure doesn't always arrive with reconciliation. Sometimes it arrives when the lies finally stop. 5 years after that dinner, my life looked completely different. I met someone kind, someone patient, someone who trusted me naturally instead of conditionally. We planned a small wedding surrounded only by people who genuinely cared about us. My parents mailed congratulations. They weren't invited. Neither was my sister. At the reception, someone asked whether cutting off family had been painful. Yes, I answered honestly, but staying would have hurt more. Peace sometimes begins with goodbye. I learned that blood alone doesn't create loyalty. Real family stands beside you before proof appears. They listen before God judging. They stay. Mine didn't. So I built a new life with people who did. And strangely enough, the worst night of my life became the reason I finally found freedom. If this story hit you emotionally, leave a like and subscribe to Winds of Thought for more powerful stories about betrayal, resilience, and starting over. Because sometimes the people who break you also push you toward the life you were meant to build.